And this is the washed back seat. This is the upper part, backrest. See how nice and clean it is. It was brown looking, and it has, it's a 95 model Ford Taurus. So, it's got a little bit of something, burn marks here or something. But, it's an old car, old work car, just kind of cleaning up. Plus this, you do this on an older vehicle or whatever, it gives you practice if you got an older one to practice on first. But anyway, back to the technical situation of this. We're going back to putting the cover on. And I haven't got there yet. I've got one in there. But anyway, the reason why I wanted to show this is real important. If you notice, I left when I was talking in the beginning, I was talking about leaving the ones in the seat in there, just taking them loose from this. Well, see, you can also see it helps you make sure you put it back to where it was. I got one right here, I've got one right there, and I see the holes. You don't have to use the same holes, but at least you can line that up with, and it gives you an idea about how the fitting is and where it should go. See, you got one right here, got a hook. So, and another point I want to make out when you're doing this doesn't have a wire here. What it has is underneath there, it's like a flat piece of metal. You have to push this down and then get back behind that thing with the with your hog rings. Now I got these. You can get the ones that comes in a big sleeve on this little thing, and you just keep going. I prefer these, a little easier to work with. The tool is smaller, and here's the tool that you're working with. You'll just let me try to do this. You'll just put this in there like so, and there's a little groove that it hooks into. That's not quite the way it's supposed to fit in there, but you want it straight on. You want it straight on like that. And then, like I was saying, you got your holes to go by. So what on this one, what you have to do is you have to pull down, and then you have to get back behind there. Let me see if I can do this with one hand. And you got to make sure you get behind the wire too. The wire's real important. And it just hooks. It don't actually wrap around like it does on the wire. The wire, it'll actually wrap around, but because that's made like it is, and it's just a flat piece of metal, it just basically hooks, and then you pull, the other end comes through over here. But this end is just hooked. So that's the way it is. And another tip is they sell these in different sizes. I prefer the 3/4 because what that does is if your material kind of shrinks or whatever, or there's a spot that's hard to get to, this gives you that much room to be able to get in there and reach to the other side. Like when you pull it through and reach to the other side and then clamp it. If you have a real small staple, it's going to be hard to get that thing. And this thing here will actually, when you do that, I'm going to show you a demonstration. If you're hooked onto something, let's just say you're hooked onto here. When you pull and you're hooked onto something else on that, because you're going to be hooked on either a wire, you're going to be hooked on either a wire or a piece of metal, and then you're going to be hooked onto the fabric and a wire on this side. So what that does is it gives you enough room to get down to something, and then you pull it, and it'll pull the fabric together. And that's basically what it does, and it'll pull it. Now, you don't want to overdo it and rip your material, but you'll get to feel for it as you go. That's why practice is always better. This is my second time doing this. I did this to a 3000 GT that I'm restoring, but that's pretty much all. I had to put my bolts and stuff and put my armrest back together. I got it back together, got a cover on it. Looks nice and clean. It's all clean. So I hope this helps you if you ever decide to do this. If you got decent covers, it's not got a bunch of holes in it or whatever, and it's just dirty, it takes a little bit of time, but you know, get you a clean area or whatever to work off of, area where you can separate everything, get your wires out. You know, make sure you get your wires out of your material before you wash it. I have to put all mine back in. This is the only one. Now this here, some of them doesn't have wire. This has got some kind of tough rope in behind, which is a nice thing because rope doesn't rust. It will dry rot over a period of time, but you don't have to worry about the rods rusting in too. This stuff here seems, that little rope stuff, it seems to be like it's held up pretty good. So it's still in there. Doesn't feel like it's falling apart. So you might run into that. Like this here, there's no wire, it's just a rope, and then you can see where it'll clip onto here. Now it's just a piece of metal that hooks in. That's why it's important to, it helps me, is leave your staples into where they hook. That way you remember where they go to, because not all the time you're gonna have a wire. So you got a piece of metal here, and then you have like a hole and then a flat piece of metal. There's a hole through a flat piece of metal there, and there's one right there. Some of them will, like your interior seats, like my staples came through right here. I didn't need to keep those where they need to be because they're just going to go on the way they're going to. But you'll get those from the opposite side. You'll have to fold back, and then you'll get those. There'll be one wire that runs across both seats where you sit. There'll be one wire that runs across here. So keep an eye out for that. So I hope you liked the video. Like and subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything to support the channel. Like and share. Do whatever you got to do. And watch my other videos if you enjoyed this one.